Yo, what's going on, guys? Kevin the Tech Ninja here, and this is the Samsung A54, and this phone's kind of a big deal. Let me explain. This is the Samsung A54. This is a budget phone starting at $375 for 128 gigabytes of storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now you can upgrade to 256 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM for an additional $25 to $30. Now this phone isn't getting like a ton of love nationally. You may not see a ton of commercials about it, and many YouTubers in the US won't talk about it, because this is definitely not a flagship phone per se. But if you look at charts as far as like top active Samsung phones, you'll see the A lineup is always up there, and I wonder why. First of all, it gives you a lot of the same great Samsung Galaxy features, but at a much lower price. Now, some of the features you're not going to get on this phone compared to other phones, well, that's gonna be very specific things that many people really don't care or not even going to use. Now, spec-wise, it has a 6.4-inch 120 Hz Fully HD Super AMOLED display. It has Gorilla Glass protection, Exynos 1380 chip, and we just talked about storage and memory already. It's also a micro SD card slot too. So let's say you're not into specs, you don't know what I was saying, I guess. Just know that you have a display that's not too different from Samsung flagship phones, not too different from iPhones. And for a phone at this price, that's pretty good. Now the back of the phone is pretty slippery, it gets fingerprints, and you know, that's not really a big deal. You could throw a case on if you want. And also the back of this phone is made of glass. Some people are saying plastic, and I understand it is a lot different than the frosted glass that we're seeing on the higher end phones, but this is definitely glass on the back. You got metal on the sides here, and then obviously glass on the front. You have Gorilla Glass 5 right here. So this is gonna be, I'm not gonna say shatter resistant, but it won't shatter easily on a drop, but this screen is definitely prone to get scratches. I do recommend picking up some cases and also a couple of screen protectors too. I'll leave some linked down below. Now on the back, you have a triple camera setup. You have this wide angle lens, which is 50 megapixels, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and also a 5 megapixel macro. Now the camera on this phone is pretty solid. I will say snapping photos around the house and outside and even going out with friends, you have a pretty good camera. If you're just posting these images to social media and you're not like a photographer, then these images will be completely fine and you'll have no problems with it. And to be honest, I was comparing some of these images with the S23 side by side, and in these situations, like outside, they looked really similar. Now at night, it could be hit or miss. Some of these night shots are great, like this one, and sometimes they're not so great. But still, a phone at this price, this is taking images that 5 years ago would have been unheard of for any phone. The front-facing camera does a really great job too. It does nice even skin tones. You have a realistic front-facing image. Also, there's a portrait mode that I think works really well when you're close to it, but sometimes when you're further away from it, it just makes a blurry image. I'm sure that could be fixed with software, but that is definitely something I saw during my testing. Here's some videos that I shot on this phone. Of course, let me know what you think. Okay, front-facing video right here. Here is the audio quality differences. This is the A54 audio. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. So this phone does have a 2-speaker setup. You have this one speaker at the bottom, and this speaker right here, the earpiece doubles as a speaker as well. I think it sounds pretty good, but obviously I'll let you be the judge of that. OLED, Mini LED, and QLED, and what is this right here? QD OLED. There's many different TVs out there in different... Now, it's not one of those speakers that will like rattle the whole room like you're seeing on the higher end phones, but it's good enough to just play casual music or even take a phone call with speakerphone. When we talk about battery life, this is definitely based off usage. This phone is a 5,000 milliamp battery. Now, your typical Series A user is not gonna be a power user, so casual users should be able to get a full day out of this phone. In my experience, using the phone how I normally use a phone, and that is heavy on the media, capturing content, and doing all those things that I do every day, I was really zapping this battery by 8 p.m. I was really reaching for that charger. But for a casual person that would just use the phone normally, this is good enough for all day worth of battery life. As you can see here, I'm at 31%. I took it off the charger around 7 a.m. and I really wasn't using it a ton because I've been home all day, and this is kind of where I'm sitting. So it just depends on your usage, but the average user that would have this type of phone wouldn't be a problem at all. So the A54 is rated for 25-watt charger, but in the box, it actually doesn't come with a charger at all. That is something that's been happening for a while now. I'm gonna link a few down below. You can get them for like 20 bucks, but this will give you charging speeds that around 30 minutes will get you about 56% of battery. Or if you do 100% of battery, it may take an hour and 5 minutes or so. And this phone also does not have wireless charging, so if you did have a wireless charger, you can't use it on this phone at all. So when we talk about performance, that obviously is always gonna be subjective in how you use your phone, but you know, for this type of phone, there's not a problem at all when it comes to performance. So let's say you wanna do something very simple, like you go into your calendar. I mean, it opens up rather quickly. You get out of it, and let's say you wanna do something else. Let's go into your gallery and take a look at your photos. Not a problem at all. Let's say you wanna get out of here and then you wanna go into an app that you had open a few minutes ago. It takes like a split second and then it opens up. So when it comes to like performance and actually using the phone day to day, yeah, it's not gonna be as snappy as a $1,300 phone, right? But for this price, this phone does perform very well, and it also moves really well too. So you shouldn't have a problem with getting into apps, bouncing out of apps and things like that. When it comes to gaming, I have gamed on this phone. We played a little bit of Apex, played a couple other games too. They run okay. They take a little bit longer to load and all those things, but at the end of the day, the performance really isn't that much different, right? Now, it does take a little bit more battery to play those types of games, and you know, longer gaming sessions does take more out of the phone. But if you're doing like a casual game or just a very simple game and not like a shooter game, then performance on this phone is not a problem at all. Now, for this price, this is a solid Samsung phone. There's a bit of competition at this price point, but people also will pay for the brand, and Samsung makes good branded phones. Motorola definitely has a couple of phones at this price point, but they're a little bit older as of right now. The Pixel 6a is nearly a year old, and it's around this price too, and it has a little bit better camera, but in my opinion, I don't like the software as much as this phone. So I think for this price, this might be the best bet for you if you're in America. Also, when we talk about software, Samsung is promising 5 years of security patches and 4 years of OS upgrades, so that is really nice. Anyways, guys, those are my opinions. I wanna know what yours are. Kevin the Tech Ninja, have yourself a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.